Welcome, viewers, to another edition of Pixonic's War Robots Test Server. This is 2017, May 13th and 14th. It is War Robots version 2.9.0266. And in this edition, you'll be seeing a new weapon prototype, a new map prototype, a Noricum new model, and new paint jobs. Start first with the new weapon prototype. It is a medium weapon, and the auto fire is disabled, which is good because last week with the auto fire, it will fire at random points, even attempting to fire at walls or through walls at the enemy on the other side, and very distracting. It is a damage increase, however, for about 150%, so a lot more damage. It will be increasing damage as you get closer to your target, so it's kind of odd. It's a lot like a weapon which is ballistic, much like the Punishers, Molots, where when you get closer, more rounds will hit the enemy. It won't be as powerful as the Thunder, based on what I saw, but it is somewhat odd because you'd think that energy weapons are distance agnostic. It has, at level 8, 3,470 for damage, no reload time, so that sounds quite deadly, and 400-meter range. However, as you get closer, it gets to that theoretical range and damage, but as you get further away at 400, it'll be considerably less. So according to the information given, it'll be at level 8, 5,205 damage per second at 0 meters, so right up close, and 2,430 at 400 range, so about half the damage at 400 range. I have this weapon on 3 robots, the Rogatka, and it'll probably be very useful to dash, because the dash doesn't jump away from danger as quickly as the medium or light versions. So it needs a weapon that can constantly fire, much like the Tron. I have it on the Cossack as well, probably not as useful, because you have to constantly face the enemy when you're using this weapon. The Noricum is also been changed. It still has a remodeling from last week in terms of a visual appearance. There's a further range change, 300 to 1100 meters, so it can work much closer, but not as close as 150 meters, however, or anything shorter than that. So anything less than 300 meters, you cannot use it as a defensive weapon if the enemy gets that much closer. The spread has been reduced since last week. Okay, and also there have been a number of paint jobs. Let's take a look. The Jessie, definitely a premium robot, has had a new paint job. Let's find it first. Here we are. It looks like a dark blue with a stars and stripes, very US inspired, called Major. The Doc, the medium robot, has one called Lieutenant or Lieutenant if you're British. Don't know why it's called Major versus Lieutenant. You'd think that the Doc is a heavier robot. The Butch has one called General, also Stars and Stripes, very American. These are the Wild West robots, so I guess they have American names. And the Stalker, so you've always had the Werewolf, the T-Rex, the Toro, but now there's something called Sandstorm, a desert camouflage paint job. And the Rhino, lastly, has a paint job as well. It's always had Vector, Avalanche, and a new one called Gorilla. So it's a desert, no, my apologies, not desert, but jungle camouflage in jungle green, with a little bit of desert sand in there, but mostly green. Jungle style rather than desert. Alright, and then let's get started with gameplay. Let's take a look. Okay, here we are in Dead City. I'm gonna exit actually and try to get the new map, which is a valley map. Here we are. This is a new prototype map. It's quite beautiful actually. Very lush and green inside what looks like to be a rock quarry of some sort. It's a small map, very much for close quarters combat. So we're starting out with the Rogatka here. The reason why I chose this robot is because it only has medium weapons, so therefore it won't have the interference of other weapons to distract us. Now I'm going to be using a very aggressive game style here so that you can see this on the other robots as quickly as possible, so you don't spend too long on any one particular robot. It's not as useful because reloading would be not such a big problem with the Rogatka, because it can jump and hide. Just for fun, we're going to try the Cossack, but again, it won't last very long. The problem with the Rogatka, Cossack, and these non-heavy robots is that because this weapon has to stay in a line of fire, you're constantly staying in the line of fire here. Very dangerous position to be in. If you jump and hide, you won't be able to use this weapon. So here we have this on a heavy -3 robot. So this is actually quite suited to this robot because it's got a lot of hit points. It's got 3 weapon mounts, so you can fire more of these weapons at once. This weapon's quite interesting in that it's as you get closer, it's more effective. Unlike the other energy weapons, like the Magnum, Turan, Zeus, for instance, trebuchets, where the distance doesn't really matter. And it has no reload time. It just has a certain amount of time for what appears to be, I guess, tracking or targeting. So here we're at 300 meter range. See, the problem is that it's only effective if the enemy doesn't get out of line of sight. Now we're going to play with the Noricums. With the Patton, you've got the maximum Noricums you can have, 4 of them. Oh, very narrow spread, very useful, but it takes a long time for it to actually land the rounds. The Noricums have traditionally not done very much damage, so it's not a very good weapon in terms of defense. You'd probably have to stay a very far distance away and have teammates to protect you. See, I can't target now, I'm less than 300. try to find a further enemy here. Now we're just at 300-meter range. Yeah, actually that's not bad damage. So it makes this weapon more relevant with higher damage, and the fact that it has very narrower spread helps significantly, because before it was spread too wide, so the amount of damage is so dispersed. But you definitely have to have your teammates protect you and stay behind cover. That didn't do much damage there. Someone's hitting me with hydras. And not very much damage. Takes a long time for it to land, but if you like artillery, this is a great weapon. It's for fun. You want to aim for a robot that does not have an energy shield. Presumably an energy shield will offer that protection, such as Ansels, Carnages, and Fujins with the sentry mode activated. Your robot can last a long time with this weapon if you're in a nice safe spot with teammates protecting you. So that has been it for the demonstration. Thank you very much for watching.